Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. As chairperson of the Alcoholic Beverage and Cannabis Board for the District of Columbia, and in accordance with DC Code Section 2571 et seq. Of the Open Meetings Act, I am welcoming you to the regular scheduled meeting of the Alcoholic Beverage Cannabis Board. This meeting is being conducted pursuant to guidance made available by the District of Columbia's Office of Open Government regarding electronic meetings held by public bodies. Electronic meetings by the ABC Board are authorized pursuant to Section 2577A of the DC Code. Pursuant to the OMA requirements, notice of today's meeting was provided 48 hours in advance of the meeting on ABCA's website and on the District Central meeting calendar. The notice includes the time, date, agenda, and a call-in or login information for public participation. This electronic meeting has been hosted by a WebEx account provided by the District of Columbia government. Please address any questions or complaints to the OOG at opengovoffice@dc.gov. My name is Donovan Anderson. I'm chairperson of the board. I would like to introduce the other members of the ABC board who are also participating electronically. Please respond when I announce your name. Mr. James Short.
Mr. James Short, present.
Mr. Bobby Cato.
Bobby Cato, present.
Ms. Jenny Henson.
Present.
Mr. Edward Grandis. Mr. Grandis. Mr.
Grandis present.
The board has 5 members in attendance for the conduct of business, and that constitutes a quorum. Before we get underway with today's hearing calendar, I need to make a few instructions very clear so that the conduct of these hearings is understood by everyone. There are 7 cases scheduled for today. Once your case is called, I will take a moment for IT specialists to elevate the rights for each party to enable their camera and a microphone. Then and only then will you have the ability to enable your equipment. If your case has not been heard, you will remain mute and your camera will be disabled. At the conclusion of each case, the parties will have the option to leave. If the parties choose to stay, all cameras and microphones for the concluded case will be disabled. Should you have any questions or require technical assistance during the hearing, please submit them using the question and answer feature. Our first case this afternoon is case number 19PRO 00033 El Canale, license number 83707. Good afternoon, Ms. Oriana. Can you please elevate the rights of the licensee and the protestant?
Good afternoon, Chair. Stephen O'Brien, your access has been elevated. John Uhar, your access has been elevated. And that appears to be all, Chairman.
Thank you. Mr. Uhar.
Mr. Uhar.
Mr. Uhar, I can't see you. Do you have a camera you can turn on, sir?
Oh, shit. Yeah, here you go. There you go.
No, I still can't see you.
Start my video. There you go. Can you see me?
No, sir. Yes, sir, I can. Thank you. All right, good afternoon, everyone. This is a protest hearing status. Let me have the parties identify themselves for the record by spelling and stating their name. Mr. O'Brien. You're on mute, Mr. O'Brien.
I think I have it now.
Yes.
Stephen O'Brien, counsel for the licensee, STEPHEN, O''BRIEN.
Good afternoon, Mr. O'Brien. Mr. Ohar, spell and state your name for the record, sir.
My name is John Uhar. U-A-Uhar.
All right. I'm aware that there are several motions that were filed. The board has not had sufficient time to review the motion, and so therefore we're just moving on to have this matter scheduled for protest and then depending on whatever determination that the board rules on the motion, that will determine where we are. Are there any other preliminary issues on your part, Mr. O'Brien?
Well, there are two motions pending.
Yes, sir. Go ahead, sir.
I just want to make sure that's clear.
What are the two motions? Just generally, and we're not going to make an argument, but I just want to make sure, what are the motions that you filed, sir?
Okay. I filed a motion to dismiss the protest. Mr. UR's time to response is not expired yet. So he still has time to answer that. So that's not right. Last night, Mr. UR filed a motion to, and I'm characterizing it, suspend the protest hearing pending investigation of complaints filed by Mr. UR previously. I think I'm characterizing that fairly. I've filed an opposition this afternoon, and Mr. UR filed a reply to opposition within the last hour or so. So I believe that matter is ripe, but I understand the board has not had an opportunity to digest that yet. The only thing I would ask is if the board, I think we have the protest hearing in 2 weeks now, or maybe it's 3. I think both the parties would hope to have rulings on the motions prior to the protest hearing, in order that we not needlessly, if it turns out, if either of the motions are granted, so as not needlessly prepare for the actual protest hearing.
Thank you. Mr. UR, any preliminary matters you want to raise, sir?
Yes. Let's start at the beginning. You said that the hearing that this was posted 48 hours in advance, and that's not correct. You posted it yesterday. The second thing is, you can't really move to a protest until you answer the complaints. And then the third thing is are you aware of the complaints? I mean, is ABRA, have you seen the complaints, and have members of the board read the complaints? Are you aware of that, or are you just relying on your ABRA people under you?
What complaints are you talking about, sir?
The complaints that I've been filing and refiling since 2019 that ABCA always seems to call a protest. And it finally dawned on me that perhaps you aren't too aware of what's going on with the day-to-day and reading the evidence. I mean, at the last testimony, you knew nothing of hate, and you said you had no police power. And you know, I don't think you understand what's going on here. And what I would hope to do could I send you the copy of the complaints that you could forward to the board, and then you could get back to me? Because these are serious. These are way worse than Charcoal Town, and you can't run a government with people not following rules and regulations. I'm an industrial real estate broker. DC real estate has been good to me, and I take DC land records sacrosanct. And when I see attorneys and officers of the court going in and fraudulently giving things that are not correct, prima facie evidence, I give it to you, you do nothing, and here I am after spending $50,000 for attorney fees, and you still haven't satisfied that. You never gave me the checklist. Your investigative report ignored my complaints, and that's it. So you need to follow due process and equal protection. And I'd like to send you the complaints and the other board members, because I think once you read them, you'll get a better understanding.
Mr. UR, just what I'd say for process, sir, when complaints are filed, they go to our enforcement division.
But they don't enforce.
So, sir, let me finish, sir. I did not interrupt you, sir.
That's true. I'm sorry.
All right. When you file complaints, they go to our enforcement division. Our enforcement division will investigate it. And if the enforcement division determines that there are any legal violation, then it comes to the board for the board to make a determination. So generally, sir, the board does not see complaints unless it has been determined by the enforcement division that the board needs to assess whether or not some penalty, whether or not we believe that a statutory violation a regulatory violation has occurred, sir. Okay, so that's where we are. But as I stated before, the board has received all the
But you don't know anything about it.
Sir, I don't need to know anything about it because what I stated, sir, is that it goes to enforcement, enforcement investigates it, and enforcement will present it to the board for the board
Hey,
to make a determination.
I hate to interrupt you, but what I'm telling you is they haven't. And here's an exhibit right here. You see this? This stop work order, the illegal construction, and the blocking of my alley. I mean, complaint number 4 gets them out in a heartbeat.
But Mr. Who you are, I mean, a stop work order, that's not an ABCA violation. I mean, them blocking your alley, that's with another agency. Remember?
Yes, sir. It was in a fraudulent settlement agreement that he claimed. You really need to review the evidence because you are not being served well by your investigators. They have yet to report, they have yet to respond, and if you take a look at it more closely with the board, you'll see that something's being pulled on you.
As I said, sir, you have filed their motions. The board will make a determination on the motions. I'm sorry, where on next steps. But currently, this matter is scheduled for protest hearing on November 15th at 1:30. However, we will make a ruling on the motions that were filed, and you will know prior to November 15th whether or not we're going to move forward with this protest hearing. Okay? Any other questions?
Sure. One question.
Yes, sir.
There's the applicant, again, you need to look at the complaints. You're not being served well. These are all valid tier 1 complaints for years.
Sir, if this matter goes to a protest hearing, then you can.
How do I get my checklist?
If this matter goes to a protest hearing, sir, I'm not sure what is it that you're speaking of because I'm not aware of that. But if it goes to a protest hearing, you will be allowed to rely on documents and witnesses that were provided, disclosed. You need to do a PIP. A PIP is due 7 days prior to the hearing, and whatever documents and witnesses that you'll be relying upon, these documents need to be included in the PIP, and it needs to be exchanged, provided to Mr. O'Brien, and provided to the agency. And so, if it goes to a protest hearing, all the complaints that you said that you filed, you can include all those complaints in your PIP, and then the board will see that and review that and make a decision based on the evidence that's presented. All that we're doing now is just preliminary. We're making preliminary determinations. But as I stated before, if this matter goes to a protest hearing, as long as you have disclosed these documents and witnesses 7 days before, then the board will consider it in its determination. Okay? Mr. O'Brien?
Yes, I think it needs to be emphasized, though, that the documents, the witnesses must be relevant to the very, very narrow issue on remand, which is the extent of, if any, to which, of which fraudulent representations to other agencies can be approved. This proceeding is very narrowly focused. It is not a total redo of the previous protest hearing.
And then you're correct. If this matter goes to a protest hearing, it's on a discrete issue, but the parties can disclose documents and witnesses, but at the hearing, then we'll make determination whether or not, if whatever documents and witnesses that are disclosed, whether or not they're relevant to the decision that needs to be made by the agency, by the board.
Thank you.
Before I bring closure, Mr. Uhar, do you have any final comments on the procedural comments you want to make?
Yes, I think that if you were to investigate the complaints, there would be no need for a protest, and it was in my opposition. I do think you need to be brought up to speed on the actual complaints. These are not minor violations. They're violations of settlement agreements. And it's all through there. And you had it before, but you didn't want to investigate the last time, and you don't want to investigate now. So we'll just keep at it. Okay.
All right, as stated before, this matter is scheduled for a protest hearing on November 15th at 1:30 p.m. The board is in receipt of the motions, and the board will review the motions and make a ruling on the motions prior to the hearing.
Actually, I have one last question.
Yes, sir.
I have one. We still, as you know, what Mr. O'Brien calls a narrowly tailored remand is actually pretty strong, and that's in one of the orders. It's they were relying again on false information, and I think again the complaints and the remand is pretty serious. You need to look at it, and I sent you that in the memorandum so that you can address it a little better.
Thank you, sir. We have read the remand. We have read the order. We have read the order from the Court of Appeals. And based on our reading of the order from the Court of Appeals, that's one of the reasons why we wrote a board order for this hearing. Okay.
Well, yes, and that's why it's on appeal, because you have your finger on the scale.
All right.
Okay.
Have a great afternoon. Thank you very much.
You too.
All right. Bye-bye. The next case in our calendar is case number 23 CMP 00052, the Ugly Mug Dining Saloon, license number 71793. Mr. Oriana, can you please elevate the rights of the government and the licensee in this case?
Sure. Gaynor Jablonski, your access has been elevated. Chris Southcott, your access has been elevated. And that appears to be all, Chairman.
Can anyone hear me?
I can hear you, sir, but I can't see you.
My camera, hold on, if I get my camera to work. Come on.
All right, well, I'm familiar with your voice, sir, so I've seen it before. So if you don't have a camera, that's fine for this proceeding. All right. Good afternoon, Mr. Scott. Can you please spell and state your name for the record?
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair. This is Chris Southcott, first name CHRAS, last name SOUTHCOTT, from DC's Office of the Attorney General, representing the government.
Good afternoon. Mr. Jablonski, can you spell and state your name for the record?
Absolutely. My name is Gaynor Jablonski, spelled Gaynor. Last name is JAB as in boy, LONSKI.
Sir? Mr. Southcott, are there any preliminary matters in this case?
Nothing from the government. I will note it appears as though we are going to be proceeding to a show cause hearing in this matter.
All right, thank you. Mr. Jablonski, any preliminary matters in this case, sir?
No preliminary matters, but I would like to request that in and I could talk to the attorney afterwards, but he mentioned something about Instacart receipts or orders. But in the complaint that I was served, there are no copies of those. So I was wondering if he could forward me that evidence or what he's talking about.
I will be sure to pass that along to my colleague whose case this is.
Okay, thank you.
All right, this matter then is scheduled for a show cause hearing on November 15th at 10:30 a.m. I would like to remind both parties that 7 days before the hearing, you're required to exchange documents and witnesses. The documents must be provided to the other side and to our legal office. Failure by either side to disclose documents and witnesses 7 days prior to the hearing, unless reasonable cause is shown, then the board is empowered to prevent that side from moving forward with relying on documents and witnesses that have not been disclosed. Any questions by anyone?
Nothing from the government.
No. Are we doing? Will these be in person or will still be over Zoom?
We're still doing virtual hearings.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
So I'll see you on November 15th at 10:30.
All right. Have a good day. Thank you.
Thank you. Take care. The next case in our calendar is case number 23CC 00009, Heights Liquor, license number 118369. Mr. Oriana, can you please elevate the rights of the licensee in this case?
I do not see the licensee. I'm gonna reach out in the chat.
Okay.
I'm not getting a response, Chairman.
All right, that's fine. Mr. Southcott, can you identify yourself for the record, sir?
Good afternoon once again. This is Chris Southcott, CHRIS, last name SOUTHCOTT, from DC's Office of the Attorney General, representing the government.
The licensee is not here. However, this is a show cause hearing status. The licensee is not required to be here. This matter then is scheduled for a show cause hearing on November 15th, 2023 at 10:30 a.m. The parties are once again reminded that 7 days prior to the hearing, they are required to exchange documents and witnesses. Failure by either side to exchange documents and witnesses, the board is empowered to prevent that side from moving forward. Any questions, sir?
Nothing from the government.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much.
The next case in our calendar is case number 23-251-00015, Shaw Howard Deli, license number 95169. This case has been continued to November 8th, 2023 at 10:30 a.m. at the request of the parties. The next case in our calendar is a fact-finding hearing for Canal Square Associates LP, trade name to be determined, license number 118463. Mr. Oriana, can you please elevate the rights of the licensee in this case?
Manala Mahmood, your access has been elevated. Michael Wilding, your access has been elevated. And that appears to be all, Chairman.
Thank you. I don't see Mr. Walden, but Ms. Mahmoud, can you please spell and state your name for the record?
Of course. Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and members of the board. Manal Mahmood with Malleus O'Brien and Sandground on behalf of the licensee, MANALLE-MAHMOUD.
And I see Mr. Walden. Mr. Walden, can you please identify yourself for the record?
Yes. With Canal Square Associates. My name is Mike Wilding, MikeWilding.
And what's your relationship to this license, sir?
I am the CFO.
All right. This is a request for safekeeping of the safekeeping of like the license, and this is a fact-finding hearing. A request came in to further for the license to remain in safekeeping until March 31st, 2024. We know that this license has been in safekeeping for a period, and so the board is trying to. I would like Mr. Wilding, can you please mute your line, sir? And so what I would like the parties to do, just to provide us with some background, where are we with this license, and what is the status in getting this license back into being an active license, ma'am?
We are.
I'm sorry, hold on, Mr. Walden. Hold on. Miss Mahmoud, are you speaking for who's speaking? You're the attorney.
Mr. Wilding will explain what's happened with the previous tenant that was lined up and the delay of putting the license back into action.
Thank you. I'm Mr. Walden, and let me just explain to you what's going on. You have an attorney, and so I normally refer to the attorney unless the attorney tells me that the client will speak. So it is for your own protection why I refer to your attorney, sir. Okay, so now that your attorney has stated that you can go forward, please go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Sorry about that. Yeah, so we have a restaurant here in our building, or it's a restaurant space. And in May of 2022, had a tenant lined up for that space. And then shortly thereafter, in June, we had a fire in the space, which we are still in the process of fixing. So that's really the reason that we want to continue the safekeeping.
But I guess what I'm saying, sir, you've had a fire. You stated that you've had a fire in this space in June of 22. This is over a year. So what is taking a year since you're saying that? Just tell me what was the extent of the fire and how long is this process going to take?
The fire was extensive. The restaurant is right now completely gutted. So a new restaurant tenant will have to come in and really outfit the restaurant. It's literally empty. So it has just taken that period of time to get it to the point where we can now show it.
So where are you? Do you have any potential client? I'm sorry, any potential applicants? Or it's still in the open?
No, that we have shown it to several potential tenants. So it's an active as far as trying to get, at least we are active in that manner.
Do you have any concrete type of leads, in the sense that we're in active negotiation with a potential client, or is it still that you're still trying to see who's interested in the space?
No, there have been active leads that I can get you information on if that is required.
All right. So say, for example, if you were to find a tenant and sign a contract at least tomorrow, how long do you believe it would take that tenant to open for business?
Probably 6 months.
All right, now if the board was to grant this extension, it would be through March 31st, 2024. And so what you're saying to me, you do not, even if you have a tenant today, it wouldn't, say if you were to sign a lease tomorrow, it doesn't appear that this license would be in operation as of April 1st, 2024. Is that correct?
Yeah, if 6 months were the case, you know, one of the reasons that we also like to have the extension is that we find it favorable to a prospective tenant, you know, that this license is there.
Any questions by any of the board members? Any final comments you want to make before I bring this matter to bring this matter to closure?
No, thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right, the board will take this matter under advisement, based on the testimony that was provided today. The board will take this matter under advisement. What I will say, I've not reviewed the submissions that were made, but it always helps if one, and maybe in this particular case it has been done. It always helps if you provide the board with significant information, enough information, so therefore we'll know that the licensee is actively trying to get the space. And so that information, whatever information, I preferred not just a letter saying that, and I'm not saying it was done in this case, but I'm just saying generally, I would prefer not just a letter saying that we're asking for another 6 months, is that you provide us some background, where we've been, and what is your projection of how much time it will take to utilize this license, okay?
Absolutely.
You have a question you want to ask, Mr. Short?
Yes, just one question, Mr. Chair. And I guess this question will go to Mr. Wilding. Mr. Wilding, the fire happened June of 2022, correct?
Correct.
What has been done in that space since the fire?
It's been completely gutted. Like, it's hard to describe, but I mean, it's a 13,000 square foot space that was a really nice looking restaurant, and you walk in there now and it looks like, you know, you've walked into.
I understand. The question I'm asking you is, what repairs have been done, and do you have any documentation as to who did the repairs, what condition it is in now, since the fire, better than a year ago? Is there any documentation you can provide the board that you're moving forward with this, other than just to say, take your word for it? Is there any documentation that you can provide this board stating that the space has been now cleared of all fire debris and damages, and that construction can take place at any time? Is there any documentation that you can provide this board? Anything?
Yes.
When can you provide that?
As soon as you want it.
You're the one asking us for an extension. The reason why we're having this hearing today is we want something today. When can
You got it. I
can
can provide it today.
Okay. Well, I'll just say this. Once I see what you provide today, I'll be ready to vote. Thank you very much for your testimony today.
Okay, thank you.
That's all I have, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Ms. Mahmoud, I guess on behalf of your client, is it realistic that you can provide the agency with whatever this document today?
Yes, we should be able to get some documentation, today or at the latest tomorrow, but I'm gonna hop on a call and hopefully we'll have everything to you today, Mr. Chair.
All right, thank you. All right, thank you very much. Have a great day.
Thank you.
The next case on our calendar is another fact-finding hearing for Hammer and Nails DuPont, license number 112033. Mr. Oriana, can you please elevate the rights of the licensee in this case?
Sure. Melissa Kingston, your access has been elevated. Richard Bianco, your access has been elevated. That is all, Chair.
Mr. Bianco, can you please identify yourself for the record by spelling and stating your name?
Sure thing, Mr. Chair. Richard Bianco, Richard Bianco, and I am counsel for the applicant in this case, or the licensee. I'm sorry.
And I think I see there's a Melissa Kingston. Ms. Kingston, can you identify yourself for the record by spelling and stating your name?
Hi, Melissa Kingston, Melissa, last name Kingston.
And do you have a camera you can turn on, ma'am?
Trying to set it up now, sorry.
All right, this is a request for safekeeping of a license. Mr. Bianco, can you tell us, start off by, as you know, it's a fact-finding here, and the board is just trying to gather some information. A request has been made to keep the license in safekeeping until March 31st, 2024. So can you tell us where we are? How did we get to this stage and what is being requested? And no, Ms. Kingston, I cannot see your camera. I'm not sure if Mr. Oriana, if there's anything that the agency needs to do on its part for you to be in camera.
Let's see. It's not letting me.
All right. That's fine, ma'am. You go ahead, Mr. Bianco.
Sure thing, Mr. Chair. So this licensee has recently acquired this license. I understand from the licensing division that it has been in safekeeping for some time. I have a little bit of context on that. The building was essentially completely rebuilt, and upon completion of the structure, the owner of the property sought to lease it. My client, who was represented by a broker, found the property, determined it was appropriate for her needs, entered into a lease sometime over the summer. We finalized everything with the lease, submitted a transfer application, and my client is now the license holder. As far as why we're not operational yet, the property was delivered in shell condition per the lease, and she has been pursuing permitting. She submitted 4 permits 4 weeks ago. She's expecting permitting to be completed by the end of November. Build out will begin at that point, and we expect to be, we have a projected opening date in March of 2024. Of course, the construction industry and DOB being what it is, that may be ambitious, but that is definitely what we're shooting for. And we hope to have it done before the time where we would have to come back and explain why we're not quite there yet. So fingers crossed, but that's exactly where we are as of today.
Thank you. Any questions by any board members? Any other representation you wish to make, Mr. Bianco?
No, Mr. Chair, that's it.
All right. Thank you. The board will take this matter under advisement, and we will issue a determination on whether or not we will grant the extension through March 31st, 2024. Thank you very much. Have a great afternoon.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the board.
The next matter on our calendar is a protest hearing case number 23 PRO 00031, Play DC Restaurant and Lounge, license number 112274. This case has been continued to December 6, 2023 at 1:30 p.m. at the request of the parties. We're now at the end of our calendar, and since we're now at the end of our calendar, we will now move to our legal agenda. The first matter on our legal agenda is a review of an offer in compromise in lieu of a hearing dated October 24th, 2023 for case number 23 CMP 00056, Bluestone Lane, license number 114952. The offer in compromise is as follows. Charge 1, operate a sidewalk cafe without the endorsement. Statutory authority, DC Code Section 25113.01C. There's a $1,000 fine paid within 30 days, or the license shall be suspended indefinitely until the fine has been paid. Charge 2, fail to obtain approval before making a substantial change. Statutory authority, DC Code Section 25726B2. That charge was dismissed. I therefore make a motion that the offer in compromise be accepted. Is there a second?
Grandis will second.
Mr. Grandis will second the motion. We'll now have a roll call vote. Mr. Short.
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato.
Cato, I agree.
Ms. Henson.
I agree.
Mr. Grandis.
Edward Grandis, I agree.
Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter passed 5-0. Number 2, review of a settlement agreement dated October 17th, 2023 by and between Advisory Neighborhood Commission 6D and Little Chicken license number 125376. I make a motion that we approve this request. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Cato and Ms. Henson, I second the motion. We'll have a roll call vote. Mr. Short.
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato.
Cato, I agree.
Ms. Henson.
I agree.
Mr. Grandis. Mr. Grandis. Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter passed 4-0. Mr. Grandis. Mr. Grandis. I cannot hear you, Mr. Grandis. Are you voting in favor of this matter, sir? Yes, sir. You can give me a thumbs up. Mr. Grandis says.
I'm gonna, yes, I need to sign off to get, maybe correct the electronic issue. So let me sign off, but yes, I do approve. Thank you.
So the matter passed 5-0. Number 3, review of a settlement agreement dated September 30th, 2023 by and between Advisory Neighborhood Commission 1A and Trini Vibes, VYBEZ, license number 124738. I make a motion that we approve this request. Is there a second?
Mr. Short, I second.
Mr. Short, I second the motion. We'll have a roll call vote. Mr. Short.
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato.
Cato, I agree.
Ms. Henson.
And I agree.
Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter passed 4-0. Number 4, review of a settlement agreement dated October 10th, 2023 by and between Advisory Neighborhood Commission 6A and Bloom, license number 125601. I make a motion that we approve this request. Is there a second?
Cato, second.
Mr. Cato and Ms. Henson, I second the motion. We'll have a roll call vote. Mr. Short.
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato.
Cato, I agree.
Ms. Henson.
I agree.
Grandis.
Edward Grandis, I agree.
Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter passed 5-0. Number 5, review of a settlement agreement dated October 10th, 2023 by and between Advisory Neighborhood Commission 6A and Haria Kapamila, Hiraya, the second name Kapamilya, license number 124137. I make a motion that we approve this request. Is there a second?
Cato, second.
Mr. Cato, Ms. Henson, I second the motion. We'll have a roll call vote. Mr. Short,
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato,
Cato, I agree.
Ms. Henson,
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
Mr. Grandis.
Grandis, I agree.
Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter passed 5-0. Number 6, review of an amendment to settlement agreement dated October 10th, 2023 by and between Advisory Neighborhood Commission 6B and Wine and Spirits license number 094605. I make a motion that we approve this request. Is there a second?
Grandis will second.
Mr. Grandis is second the motion. We'll have a roll call vote. Mr. Short,
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato,
Cato, I agree.
Ms. Henson,
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
Mr. Grandis.
Grandis, I agree.
Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter passed 5-0. Number 5, review of a request from ANC 1B to withdraw protest dated October 18th, 2023 in case number 22 PRO 00121 MK Lounge license number 088787. I make a motion that we approve this request. Is there a second?
Mr. Short, I second.
Mr. Short, I second the motion. We'll have a roll call vote. Mr. Short,
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato,
Cato, I agree.
Ms. Henson,
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
Mr. Grandis.
Grandis, I agree.
Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter passed 5-0. Number 8, review of a motion for entry of consent order for renewal dated September 26, 2023 in case number 22 PRO 00121. This is MK Lounge, license number 088787. I make a motion that we approve this request. Is there a second?
Grandis will second.
Ms. Henson, Mr. Grandis is second. The motion would have a roll call vote. Mr. Short,
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato,
Cato, I agree.
Ms. Henson,
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
Mr. Grandis,
Grandis, I agree.
and Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter passed 5-0. Number 9, review of applicant's motion to reinstate dismissed protest dated October 15th, 2023 in case number 23 PRO 00061 Rush, license number 125250. I make a motion that we approve this request. Is there a second?
Jenny Hansen, I second.
Ms. Henson, a second the motion. We'll have a roll call vote. Mr. Short,
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato,
Cato, I agree.
Ms. Henson,
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
Mr. Grandis,
Grandis, I agree.
and Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter passed 5-0. Number 10, review of protestants' opposition to reinstate dismissed protest dated October 23rd, 2023 in case number 23 PRO 00061 Rush, this license number 125260. This matter is now moot. Number 11, review of applicant's reply to protestants' opposition to motion to reinstate dismissed protests. This is Rush license number 125290. This is now moot. Number 12, review of applicant's motion to continue protest hearing dated October 24th, 2023 in case number 23 PRO 00052 Champion Kitchen, license number 103055. I make a motion that we approve this request. Is there a second?
Mr. Short, I second.
Mr. Short, I second the motion. We'll have a roll call vote. Mr. Short,
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato,
Cato, I agree.
Ms. Henson,
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
Mr. Grandis,
Grandis, I agree.
Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter passed 5-0. Number 13, review of motion for reconsideration, rehearing, and in the alternative to dismiss the petition dated October 18th, 2023, filed by 9th Street Nightlife Equality Coalition regarding the proposed North Shore 9th Street moratorium zone. Public hearing held September 14th, 2023. ABCA board denied initial request by movement to supplement the record on October 4th, 2023. I make a motion that we grant reopening the record for written comment and abeyance on the motion dismiss. Is there a second?
Mr. Short, I second.
Mr. Short, I second the motion. We'll have a roll call vote. Mr. Short,
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato,
Bob Cato, I agree.
Ms. Henson,
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
Mr. Grandis.
Grandis, I agree.
Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter passed 5-0. Number 14, review of correspondence dated October 24th, 2023, filed by the 9th Street Nightlife Equity Coalition, waiving right to in-person hearing and holding motion to dismiss in abeyance until written comments are filed regarding the proposed North Shore 9th Street moratorium zone. I make a motion that we grant the motion to reopen the record for written comment and abeyance of the motion to dismiss. Is there a second?
Jenny Hansen will second.
Ms. Henson and Mr. Cato second the motion. We'll have a roll call vote. Mr. Short,
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato,
Cato, I agree.
Ms. Henson,
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
and Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter passed 4-0. We now move to licensing agenda. The first matter on licensing agenda is a review application for safekeeping of license. This is for Glory, license number 119052. I make a motion that we approve this request through March 31st, 2024. Is there a second?
Jenny Hansen will second.
Ms. Henson, second the motion. We'll have a roll call vote. Mr. Short,
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato,
Cato, I agree.
Ms. Henson,
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
Mr. Grandis,
Grandis, I agree.
Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter passed 5-0. Number 2, review application for safekeeping of license. This is for Mirror Lounge, license number 111950. I make a motion that we approve this request through March 31st, 2024. Is there a second?
Grandis will second.
Mr. Grandis will second the motion. We'll have a roll call vote. Mr. Short,
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato,
Bob Cato, I agree.
Ms. Henson,
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
Mr. Grandis,
Grandis, I agree.
Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter passed 5-0. Number 3, review application for entertainment endorsement to provide live entertainment inside of the premise. This is for Tom's Watch Bar, license number 119393. I make a motion that we placard this matter. Is there a second?
Mr. Short, I second.
Mr. Short has seconded the motion. We'll have a roll call vote. Mr. Short,
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato,
Bob Cato, I agree.
Ms. Henson,
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
Mr. Grandis,
Grandis, I agree.
Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter passed 5-0. Number 4, review request to remove the game of skill endorsement from the license. This is for Atomic Billiards, license number 019007. I make a motion that we approve this request. Is there a second?
Grandis will second.
Mr. Grandis will second the motion. We'll have a roll call vote. Mr. Short,
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato,
Bob Cato, I agree.
Ms. Henson,
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
Mr. Grandis,
Grandis, I agree.
Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter passed 5-0. We now move, I'm now taking up the supplemental licensing agenda for discussion and vote by the board. There are 2 agenda items on the supplemental licensing agenda. I therefore make a motion that the request to cancel the license for the 2 licensees on the agenda be, I'm sorry, I can't do it that way. So let me do the individual. So we now move into the supplemental license agenda. The first matter on the supplemental license agenda, review request to remove the license from safekeeping for reopening in a newly approved location. This is for WNS Liquor and Deli, license number 122985. I make a motion that we approve this request. Is there a second?
Bob Cato, seconds.
Mr. Cato, second the motion. We'll have a roll call vote. Mr. Short,
Mr. Short, I agree.
Cato,
Bob Cato, I agree.
Ms. Henson,
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
Mr. Grandis.
Grandis, I agree.
Grandis and I agree. The matter passed 5-0. Number 2, review request for a refund of late fees incurred at the time of license renewal. This is for Decanter, license number 090639. I make a motion that we deny this request. Is there a second?
Mr. Short, I second.
Mr. Short has seconded the motion. We'll have a roll call vote. Mr. Short,
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato,
Bob Cato, I agree.
Ms. Henson,
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
Mr. Grandis.
Grandis, I agree.
Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter passed 5-0. I am now taking up the cancellation agenda. On the cancellation agenda, there are 2 items on the cancellation agenda. I move that the items on the cancellation agenda, which is requesting that these 2 licenses be canceled, be approved. Is there a second?
Grandis will approve. Will second.
Mr. Grandis has seconded the motion. We'll have a roll call vote. Mr. Short.
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato.
Bobby Cato, I agree.
Ms. Henson.
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
And Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter passes 5-0. We now move to our, the medical cannabis licensing agenda for October 25th, 2023. There are 16 licensees on this agenda, and I'm going to make a motion that the board approves number 2 through number 16. Number 1 on the agenda is just an FYI for the board. So I do make a motion that number 2 through number 16 be approved. However, number 1 on the agenda is an FYI for the board. Is there a second?
Bobby Cato seconds.
Mr. Cato, a second. The motion will have a roll call vote. Mr. Short.
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato.
Bobby Cato, I agree.
Ms. Henson.
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
Mr. Grandis.
Grandis, I agree.
Grandis and I agree. The matter passed 5-0. We now move to the board's temporary 1-day and substantial change docket. On this docket, there are 17 applicants. I will review the names, all the applicants, the type of license that is being requested, the date, and what is being requested. At the end of the list, I will make a motion that the board grants I will make a motion on the particular cases, what the board should do. So for the first, I'm sorry, I need to do these individual again. Well, the first request, a request from Jennifer Frederick for a 1-day license class F. This is for Night of the Living Dead play on October 27th, from October 27th through October 30th. And the license number is 12661, 50 attendees, 2 security guards. I make a motion that we approve this request. Is there a second?
Grandis will second.
Mr. Grandis has seconded the motion. We'll now have a roll call vote. Mr. Short.
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato.
Cato, I agree.
Ms. Henson.
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
Mr. Grandis.
Grandis, I agree.
Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter passed 5-0. Number 2, we have another request from Jennifer Frederick for 1-day license class F. This is for the Rorschach Theater. This is October 31st. The license number is 12661, 50 attendees, 2 security guards. I make a motion that we approve this request. Is there a second?
Cato seconds.
Mr. Cato seconds the motion. We'll have a roll call vote. Mr. Short.
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato.
Cato, I agree.
Ms. Henson.
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
Mr. Grandis.
Grandis, I agree.
Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter passed 5-0. Number 3, another request from Jennifer Frederick for 1-day license class F. This is for the Night of the Living Dead live, Rorschach Theater. This is from November 9th through November 12th. The license number is 12661, 50 attendees, 2 security guards. I make a motion that we approve this request. Is there a second?
Cato second.
Mr. Cato second the motion. We'll have a roll call vote. Mr. Short.
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato.
Agree.
Ms. Henson.
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
Mr. Grandis.
Grandis, I agree.
Grandis and I agree. The matter passed 5-0. Number 4, I believe, yeah, number 4. Another request from Jennifer Frederick, a one-day license class F. I'm sorry, I think I just read it. Yeah, no, I'm sorry. Night of the Living Dead. This is the Rorschach Theater. This is from November 16th through November 19th. The license number is 12661, 450 attendees, 2 security guards. I make a motion that we approve this request. Is there a second?
Cato second.
Second.
Mr. Cato and Mr. Grandis is second. The motion would have a roll call vote. Mr. Short.
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato.
Agree.
Ms. Henson.
I agree.
Mr. Grandis.
Grandis, I agree.
Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter passed 5-0. Number 5, Catherine Rodriguez, a request a one-day license class F picnic. This is October 26th. The license number is 126580. 100 attendees, 2 security guards. I make a motion that we approve this request. Is there a second?
Cato seconds.
Mr. Cato, second the motion. We'll have a roll call vote. Mr. Short.
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato.
Cato, I agree.
Henson.
I agree.
Mr. Grandis.
Edward Grandis, I agree.
Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter passed 5-0. Number 6, a request from Andre Luce, a one-day license class F fundraiser for community tax aid. This is October 28th. The license number is 126557, 75 attendees, 2 security guards. I make a motion that we approve this request. Is there a second?
Cato second.
Mr. Grandis and Mr. Cato second the motion. We have a roll call vote. Mr. Short.
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato.
Cato, I agree.
Henson.
I agree.
Mr. Grandis.
Edward Grandis, I agree.
Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter passed 5-0. Number 7, request from Jennifer Joseph, one-day license class F birthday party, October 29th. License number is 126595, 40 attendees, 1 security guard. I make a motion that we approve this request. Is there a second?
Cato seconds.
Mr. Cato, second the motion. We'll have a roll call vote. Mr. Short.
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato.
Cato, I agree.
Henson.
I agree.
Mr. Grandis.
Edward Grandis, I agree.
Grandis and I agree. The matter passed 5-0. Number 8, a request from Edward Daniels Jr., a one-day license class G Halloween party, October 28th. The license number is 126565, 750 attendees, 15 security guard. I make a motion that we approve this request. Is there a second?
Cato seconds.
Mr. Cato, I second the motion. We'll have a roll call vote. Mr. Short.
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato.
Cato, I agree.
Ms. Henson.
I agree.
Mr. Grandis.
Edward
Mr.
Grandis, I
Grandis.
agree. Edward Grandis, I agree.
Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter passed 5-0. Number 9, Ray Simpson, one-day license class G, birthday party, October 28th. The license number is 126604, 150 attendees, 3 security guards. I make a motion that we approve this request. Is there a second?
Cato seconds.
Mr. Grandis and Mr. Cato second the motion. We'll have a roll call vote. Mr. Short.
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato.
I agree.
Ms. Henson.
I agree.
Mr. Grandis.
I agree.
Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter passed 5-0. Number 10, a request from Samantha Yeager, a one-day license class G. This is for a wedding, November 18th. The license number is 126576, 60 attendees, 2 security guards. I make a motion that we approve this request. Is there a second?
Grandis was second.
Mr. Grandis has seconded the motion. We'll have a roll call vote. Mr. Short.
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato.
Cato, I agree.
Henson.
I agree.
Mr. Grandis.
Edward Grandis, I agree.
Grandis and I agree. The matter passed 5-0. Number 11. Illy DC, license number Illy DC, one-day substantial change, corporate social event, nature of substantial change, use license off premises at the fire pit area adjacent to the establishment for corporate social event. This is on December 15th. The license number is 118113. Substantial change license 23SC01169. I make a motion that we grant this request. Is there a second?
Cato seconds.
Mr. Cato, second the motion. We'll have a roll call vote. Mr. Short.
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato.
Cato, I agree.
Ms. Henson.
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
Mr. Grandis.
Edward Grandis, I agree.
Grandis, I agree. The matter passed 500. Number 12, Buddies, one-day substantial change. Alumni homecoming dinner party. Nature of this substantial change to extend hours of operation of Summer Garden to 2 a.m. I make a motion that we deny this request. Is there a second? I'm sorry, I make a motion, not deny, I apologize, to refer this matter back to licensing. Is there a second?
Mr. Short, I second.
Mr. Short, I second the motion. We'll have a roll call vote. Mr. Short.
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato.
Cato, I agree.
Ms. Henson.
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
Mr. Grandis.
Edward Grandis, I agree.
Grandis and I agree. The matter passed 500. Number 13, Pendray Wharf, DC, one-day substantial change. Friends and Family Music Festival to use license off premises at the Grove between Wharf and Water Street Southwest. This is on October 28th. The license number is 121347. Substantial change license 23SC01171. I make a motion that we approve this request. Is there a second?
Edward Grandis for second.
Mr. Grandis is second the motion. We'll have a roll call vote. Mr. Short.
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato.
Cato, I agree.
Ms. Henson.
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
Mr. Grandis.
Edward Grandis, I agree.
Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter passed 500. Number 14, Project DC Events, Pub Crawl, DC Santa Crawl, Project DC Events, December 9th, 2023. License number is 105182, substantial change license 23PC00020. I make a motion that we approve a total of $2,500 for this pub crawl. Is there a second?
Cato seconds.
Mr. Cato, second the motion. We'll have a roll call vote. Mr. Short.
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato.
Cato, I agree.
Ms. Henson.
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
Mr. Grandis.
Edward Grandis, I agree.
Grandis and I agree. The matter passed 500. Number 15, Regmo Promo Holdings Inc. Pub Crawl, the Lucky U Street Bar Crawl. This is on March 16th, 2024. The license number is 104072. Substantial change number is 23PC00029. I make a motion that we conditional approve 1,000. Is there a second?
Edward Grandis will second.
Mr. Grandis has seconded the motion. We'll have a roll call vote. Mr. Short.
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato.
Cato, I agree.
Ms. Henson.
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
Mr. Grandis.
Edward Grandis, I agree.
Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter passed 500. Number 16 and 17 were events that occurred prior. I'm going to make a motion that the board retroactively approve these two events. The first event was a request from Alex Starkey for a one-day license class F. This is a VIP reception. This was on October 24th. The license number is 126542. 50 attendees, 2 security guards. And number 17, a request from Sandra Allen, a one-day license class F. This was an 80th birthday party, October 20th, 2023. The license number is 126585. 65 attendees, 2 security guards. I therefore make a motion that the board retroactively approve these two events. Is there a second?
Mr. Short, I second.
Mr. Short, I second the motion. We'll have a roll call vote. Mr. Short.
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato.
Cato, I agree.
Ms. Henson.
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
Mr. Grandis.
Edward Grandis, I agree.
Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter passes 500. We now move to the license administrative docket.
Hello?
Mr. Short. We now move to the license administrative docket. On the license administrative docket, there are 13 applicants on the license administrative docket. I move that all 13 items on the license administrative docket be approved. Is there a second?
Jenny Hansen,
Grandis will
second.
second.
Ms. Henson, Mr. Grandis has seconded the motion. We'll have a roll call vote. Mr. Short,
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato,
Cato, I agree.
Ms. Henson,
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
Mr. Grandis.
Grandis, I agree.
Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter passed 5-0-0. We're now at the end of our agenda items for the day, and if there's no further business, I will close the record for the day. As chairperson of the Alcoholic Beverage and Cannabis Board for the District of Columbia, and in accordance with Title III, Chapter 405, Office of Open Government, I move that ABC Board hold a closed meeting on November 1st for the purpose of discussing and hearing reports concerning ongoing or planned investigations of alleged criminal or civil misconduct or violations of law or regulations, and seeking legal advice from our legal counsel on the board's investigative agenda, legal agenda, licensing agenda for November 1st, as published in the DC Register on October 27th. Is there a second?
Cato, second.
Ms. Henson, Mr. Cato has seconded the motion. We'll have a roll call vote. Mr. Short,
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato,
Cato, I agree.
Henson,
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
Mr. Grandis,
Grandis, I agree.
Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter passed 5-0-0. As it appears that the motion has passed, I hereby give notice that ABC Board will hold this closed meeting pursuant to the Open Meetings Act. Notice will also be posted on the ABC Board Hearing Room Bulletin Board, placed on electronic calendar on ABCA's website, and published in DC Register in a timely manner as practical. We're now adjourned for the day. I would like to thank all board members who participated in our hearings today. And I now direct all board members to return to executive session for further action. Have a pleasant afternoon. Thank you.